Hi everyone. So I'm doing my conflict resolution series where I'm going to be talking about conflict resolution. And for example, one thing that I notice is how there are points where people come together on. For example, within a very famous movie like Star Wars, you look at how many people in the world like Star Wars. That's a lot. And when you look at all the various people that like Star Wars, people who would normally be in conflict with each other. For example, let's say with political affiliation, the left side and the right side, Republicans, Democrats, the different religions, the left and the right, or up and down, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, the different, let's say, factions within each religion, the groups around the world, the extremists. There's always some sort of conflict somewhere. It could be between people based on their appearance, beautiful people and ugly people. It can be based on wealth, rich people and poor people. It can be based on skin color, or your country, your race, or your heritage. Whether you're Hispanic or Caucasian or white or American or French or European or from Africa or from Asia, from China, Japan, from Russia, from whatever. There's so many different dimensions where people have conflict with each other. Yet when you take a point like watching a Star Wars movie, how many people come together in that same point in unity, and they agree on who's good and who's bad in the movie, who they agree on liking the movie. And it's weird, like you'll have a theater full of people who would normally fight with each other, but while they're watching the movie, they're not fighting, they're in peace. And they have an agreement about the movie. And so one thing I want to show with this example is how, there's someone out there that you have a conflict with, right? And there are people out there who have conflict with each other. But that's just in one dimension. It's only one dimension that those people are in conflict with, because you don't only have one dimension that defines who you are. For example, your religion is not all that defines who you are. Your race is not all that defines who you are. Your country is not all that defines who you are. Your wealth is not all that defines who you are. The same thing for every other person. We all have various dimensions of self that isn't even able to be characterized in a category like race or money or who you are. Some of these points of who you are can be like making jokes, joking around, or making observations and having deep insights and sharing that, or being supportive, helpful, standing there, or um, or just whatever parts of self that you are, that you express with people or with yourself, whether it's being like attentive and specific or caring, supportive. And these have nothing to do with these so-called dimensions that we conflict, that we fight with each other about. They're really so basic, superficial. When we really look into the points of who we are, how we act, how we behave, who we really are in the moment with each other, it is really quite specific, and it's really quite real and deep, and it's not something you can really fight about or have an argument about or destroy, unless you actually are living as destruction, unless you actually are living the word destroy, unless you are actually already living the words like hate and separation and jealousy and superiority and inferiority. All these words as who you are as this point of conflict. And what's the solution then for that when we're living these words that separate us, that destroy life? The solution I see that can be applied is to focus on the very points that we have in common, our unity. Because when we are focused on separation, when we focus on the differences and see that as something bad, we're focused within that point as who we are, living as that separation, then that's what we live and become. What we accept and allow is what we become. It's what we participate within. And we need to move as who we really are, as our expressions of self, of life. Meaning you can challenge this through the physical, because through your physical body, it's evidence of how we're all really the same. We all have physical bodies. We all eat. We all drink water. We all use the bathroom. We all sleep. We all do physical movement. We have our physical bodies, and that's where our unity is. And it's the same unity we have with the earth, which is also physical, which also has a body, which also breathes. Same with the animals and plants. There's a breathing, there's an eating, there's a drinking, there's a resting. There's a physical movement. And this is all here. That's all physical. And here, when you look at this point and stand as that, there cannot be any conflict, because conflict doesn't exist. All there exists is physical movement of living. Conflict as fighting, as separation, that exists when we are of the mind, when we are of who we are, existing as those words, as separation, as conflict, as fighting, as violence, as ego, as self-interest, as anything that destroys life. And that's something you live as who you are, as words, the words that destroy life. Or you can actually align yourself with the words as who you are, with this physical reality which already exists within, let's say, peace. This physical reality is already a point of support, of peace, of unconditional support. You look at all that the physical does, the earth, the animals, the plants, how they support us unconditionally. That's who they are as their nature and the physical level already. Now, if human beings were to align the same nature as the earth, as animals, as plants, as the whole physical reality, then we would be at peace. We would be at support, at care, at nurture. And we would be living those words. And the words are already here, to be seen, to be picked up on, to live. They're already right here in our physical reality. So it's weird how we always look at the separation as a good versus bad, like the movie of Star Wars, the light side and the dark side, instead of seeing the unity where we have in common. Where do we share the same? Where are we the same? Because that's where it is. And even in Star Wars, everything is still physical. Everything is still the physical reality. Because that's what's here, and that's what's life, and that's what's real. And we simply have to unify together as that point, because we do unify in there already. Like, how many of us all live within a world that requires money, or that requires food or water? We all do. We all are part of the same system. Whether it's the water system, how the water recycles, or the earth system, how the earth recycles the earth and grows food, or the food system, how the farmers produce the food through labor, or through whatever other system, because we're all participating in this one living system. That's who we are. That's our unity. That has nothing to do with religion or race or appearance, ugly or beautiful, or old or young, or any other dimension that could be of a conflict, which is all really superficial, all very much on the surface layer of things, on how we perceive things, instead of looking at simply what is here, the truth, which is real and deep, undeniable, and unconditional, which is the physical, our physical oneness and equality. That is where we can all agree upon. That is where conflict can end. That is when we live as that, conflict cannot exist. Fighting cannot exist. Separation cannot exist. And so the first point for each one of us has to firstly be to align ourselves to oneness and equality, to the physical, to where we are all actually one and equal, where there is no conflict, when there is simply just a point of working with what is here, and being practical, and being physical. Like a tree doesn't go to another tree, or a tree doesn't talk to the air or the water and say like, hey, you're this kind of water, you're of this race, or this country, or this ideology, therefore I'm not going to work with you. That's not how reality works. Reality works together. Reality is a team. Reality is a cooperation. Reality is unity. And look at the system we have today with human beings, how we act with each other. We create separation. We create conflict. We say we're not going to work with you. We're not going to work with this. You are too much this. You're too much that. You always point of creating separation, conflict, problems, instead of really working together. And this is the problem we all have, because this is reflected into our education system, our business system, our economic system, our political system, our health system, where we all want to become like the superior overlord, the one owner, the one person in charge of everything. The person has the most say, the most power, the most influence, influencing other people to join their side. And they get to decide who's right and who's wrong, and just create conflict and separation. Instead of actually creating a point of unity, cooperation, where you cooperate and work with the people that you are having conflict with, because you realize that conflict is not real. That what is real is the physical, and that's what needs to be stood by. And when you stand by the physical, you're standing in the point of where everyone can agree upon. Where if anyone were to disagree with that, it just wouldn't make any sense, because that's where the point of everyone is benefited, everyone is taken care of, everyone is considered. The physical point, who we really are, as care, as support, as nurture, as understanding, as oneness and equality. And that is right here. So we can each do that firstly, aligning with oneness and equality, stepping out of the point of being the ego, the overlord, the one, the self-interest, creating conflict, seeing people as a problem, seeing things like that, seeing separation, instead of standing by together and for everyone as the physical, as life. And yes, when someone is not aligned with the physical, you have to continue to stand with the physical. You have to continue having them, insisting on them joining you. Because that can only be the point that can be accepted aloud. Because if someone's creating conflict, if someone is unwilling to join, then you cannot have them. You cannot allow them to join. Because they don't want to join. They don't want to be in the point of physical oneness and equality as with the best for all. They're not willing to give up their own limitation, to give up their own compromise, instead of just having what's best for everyone. So yeah, then you have to stand. That's not a point of creating conflict. Even the other person will be in conflict. All you're doing is standing as who you are, is life. It's oneness and equality, is the physical, to us for all. In an insistence, in a persistence, in a standing. And yes, there will be people who resist. There will be people who will fight. There will be people who create conflicts, because that's all they exist within. And the people who stand within the physical, within one inequality, all they have to do is keep standing and continue being what is best for all. And that is how life will exist and flourish for the first time ever. And that is how the future will unfold in the Destiny universe. Slowly but surely, through moment, through conflict, standing with the physical, standing with what's best for all, standing as one is inequality. That is how you really resolve conflicts, and so achieve conflict resolution, where we firstly drop the conflict within ourselves, stand as a point of what's best for all, and continue standing as others join you. So thank you very much.